DreAllDay.com.
Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. So, fuck all influencers. That's the topic of this video that you're watching right now. The thing is, every time I log on to Instagram, mostly it's on Instagram, I guess a little bit on Facebook, but I don't really I don't scroll through Facebook like that. Every time I log on Instagram, I'm seeing some person telling their story. They got a picture, they're in some location, different location every picture, telling us how they were going through this struggle, but then they figured it out, and then they made this much money, or now they're so successful, and now they got all these clients who they're helping do the exact same thing, and you can get the thing that they got. All you gotta do is click the link, and they're only taking this many clients, and you gotta make sure you act fast. And listen, fuck all that. Fuck all of that. Okay, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear no more stories about how you were going through the struggle and then you figured it out, and now you're helping other people doing it, and everybody who's working with you is so successful, and you could be the next person who could be successful with me. Listen, fuck all those stories. Fuck your stories. Fuck your struggle that you came up with. That every post there's a different struggle that you went through, and you're telling everybody about it with the picture of you now as the picture, literally the picture of success. Listen, fuck all that shit. Fuck all that influencer avatar bullshit. A lot of the shit that I'm seeing nowadays when it comes from influencers, and when I say, I'm gonna explain at the end of this what I mean when I say fuck all influencers. I'm not saying a whole scope of influencing, because that's always going to exist, and I could even put myself in that category. What I'm saying is the avatar of influencer, and using air quotes, where everybody's like a fucking Barbie and Ken doll. Like, y'all remember Barbie and Ken dolls? If you don't, Google it. It was a action figure, or a doll / action figure, same thing. And there's a person, and then they would put different clothing on it and give you different accessories, and then they would sell you all these different Barbies and all these different Ken dolls, but it was the exact same body every single time. It was just different clothing. They would just change the clothes up and sell you a different product, and it was the exact same thing. Influencers these days, again using air quotes, influencers, they like Barbie and Ken dolls. They all the exact same body, just different clothes on, a little bit different story, but it's the same fucking avatar, same shit over and over again. I'm tired of this shit, so fuck all influencers. I don't want to hear any more the struggle stories and how you made it, and now you figured it out, and now you got all these clients and they're all successful too, and all this bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. If you're one of those people, I want to hear your shit. I don't want to hear your bullshit ass stories. Even if it really happened, it's still a bullshit ass story. I still don't want to hear that shit. Okay? I want to hear some real shit. If you're going to be an influencer, one of the things that people want these days, one of the things that I want for me, myself, because I'm speaking for myself in this video. I'm not speaking for the people. I'm speaking for me. I want to hear some truth. I want to hear some real shit. Some people living their real life, being their real selves, putting their real selves out there. I don't want to hear nowadays we got the new Gary Vee, or the female version of Grant Cardone, or the new Grant Cardone, the female Gary Vee. I don't hear that shit. Listen, if I want to hear Gary Vee, then I'll Google motherfucking Gary Vee. Look, I go on Google right now, and I'm gonna tell you how many results we get for Gary Vee. All right, it's probably fucking 10 million results for Gary Vee. I don't need a new Gary Vee. If I want to hear Grant Cardone, then I could Google motherfucking Grant Cardone. What the fuck do I need to hear you for if we already got one of him? Like, I don't want to hear a new version of anybody that already exists. All right, so any of y'all who's thinking about doing something like that, cut that shit out. I don't want to hear that shit. Gary Vee, 4,820,000 results. Grant Cardone, let's see. We'll just look up another person. They don't even tell me how many results he got. He probably got so many they can't even tell you how many it is. Don't even tell you how many results. He got a lot of results. Tony Robbins, let's see. Here's another one. Tony Robbins results, 79,900,000 results. Listen, we don't need another version of any of these people, or anybody else you want to name who's famous and they got a following, and now people been coming up listening to their stuff every day, and now you're like the new version of them, or you're the real estate version of them, or you're the athlete version of them. Listen, I don't want to hear a new version of a motherfucker that already exists. I want to hear a brand new person with a whole new perspective, you being you, not you're some version of some person that's already out there. What do I want to hear that for? I don't want to hear that shit. And I understand why a lot of people are doing this, because it seems like it's successful. It's successful to be the next, Tony Robbins is successful. All right, let me be the female Tony Robbins. All right, Grant Cardone's working, so let me be the young version of Grant. Or Gary V's working, so let me be the real estate version of Gary V. Listen, fuck all that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear a cheap imitation. Y'all remember, some of y'all who might be old enough to remember, back in the 90s, 80s, 90s, before every car had the automatic alarm. You press the button and it turns the alarm on the car, so your car couldn't get stolen. Back when you used to have to open the door with the key, and then you had to actually lock the doors with your hands. And before every car had an alarm, they used to have this thing called the club, a little device. It was like this metal long thing that you would put on the steering wheel, and it would lock. You had to turn the key and lock the club. It was like a bike lock, but it was for your steering wheel of your car, so nobody could steal your car. And the club was this really big bar, so if somebody was going to steal your car, they could look in the car and see the club on the wheel. They're like, all right, I can't steal that car. And they would move on. It was like a theft deterrent system before you had car alarms. And on a club commercial, they used to sell them through infomercials, right? And the club would always say at the end of the commercial, don't be fooled by cheap imitations. If you buy the club, make sure you get the one that says the club right here on the bar. Don't get the cheap imitations, because people start knocking them off and trying to sell the club, because the club was selling very successfully. And I'm bringing that up to tell you this. I don't want to hear a cheap imitation of somebody who already is out there. Somebody's already successful doing their thing. I don't want a cheap imitation of them. I don't want you to be the next fill in the blank, whoever that person is, or you're inspired by, or you love them, or you look up to them, or you idolize that person. I don't want to hear another podcast come out where it's some cheesy motherfucker, male or female. There's a lot of cheesy motherfuckers out there. You know who you are if you're one of them. They come out with a podcast, or I'm going to interview influencers and high performers, and it's the same parade of motherfuckers on the show that the other 300 shows out there that already interview, asking the same questions, getting the same answers, the same material, and now you're telling your audience that you're projecting to your audience that you're somebody because you stood next to, you interviewed this person, and you start name dropping the people you interview. Like, yo, who gives a fuck who you interview? All you do is ask them the same questions everybody else asks them, got the same answers they've been given for the last 10 years. What actually have you brought to the game? What have you put on the table that wasn't already on the table? Probably nothing. And now, listen, if it's working for you and people are buying into it, and you actually have these customers or clients that you talk about in your captions, listen, more power to you. Congratulations. Keep doing what you're doing. But fuck the bullshit. All right, I'm speaking again for myself. I don't want to hear any more bullshit from any more avatar influencers. That's what I call them. Avatar influencers. You Barbie and Ken motherfuckers with the same shit over and over again. The same message every single day. It's coming from 20 different people. It's like I could close my eyes and just have somebody read me a caption from some influencer on social media, and it could come from 50 different people because they're all saying the same shit. It's the same template. It's like y'all using y'all might be using a template website that just, all you gotta do is plug in some stuff. It's like Ad Libs. Remember those Mad Libs magazines you could buy, and all you had to do was just fill in the blanks and they would produce something? That's what a lot of influencers sound like these days. So listen, fuck every influencer out there. Fuck all that influencer copy and paste bullshit. All you avatar people, please bring something new to the table. Bring something genuine to the table. Bring you to the table. Because listen, you can't be replicated. You are not a new version of somebody else's shit. You are not just copying what you see everybody else doing. Please bring something new to the table. Bring something unique to the table. Bring something original to the table. And if you're being yourself, then all these things will happen naturally. I don't wake up every day and say, hey, what can I bring unique to the table? What can I do that's new? What can I do that's original? I don't have to think about that because I'm being my genuine self when I'm creating whatever I'm creating, whether it's writing, whether it's audio, whether it's speaking on a stage, whether it's working with a client or customer, whether it's creating new products and services, whether it's doing a video like this, a live stream, whatever. I'm always being my natural, genuine self, so I don't have to think about being unique. But a lot of you avatar influencers, you really need to, first of all, you got to deprogram yourself from the bullshit that you thought is making you somebody out here in these spaces. And listen, maybe if it's working for you, then it's kind of hard for you to get this message, so I understand. But at the same time, at some point, like, when are you going to do something real? When are you going to do something that's not copying what you saw somebody else do? That's not, this is what you heard at some conference and it's 3,000 people in the room. Now all 3,000 of y'all is going to go out and do the exact same thing. Do you understand? how it just makes you a carbon copy of everybody else. When are you gonna do something unique? When are you gonna do something original? Because I want to let y'all know that the whole scope of what we have as influencers these days, it's a bubble, kind of like the .com bubble was a bubble. Eventually it's going to pop, and eventually people being an influencer is not really going to be a viable line of work. And you gotta be real. You're gonna have to be genuine. You're gonna have to be true to yourself. You're gonna have to be bringing something new to the table to sustain, to last. Right now, it looks like this is going to go on forever, and everybody's just going to be popping off, and it's going to be great. It's just like, the other day I was listening to Dame Dash. He was on Mike Tyson's podcast interview show, and he was talking about how in the 80s, when crack hit the streets in Harlem, where Damon Dash is from, he said overnight, all these people who grew up poor with no money, all of a sudden a whole bunch of people was millionaires, was rich. You had 16-year-old kids driving around in cars. They had more money than their teachers, their parents, everybody. So he thought they was the shit. And everybody was styling and flashing, and everybody was doing great. But that didn't last forever. Eventually that era ended. A whole lot of people died. A whole lot of people went to jail. And those same people who was popping in the streets with all that money at 16, now at 25, now you got to figure out what to do. Understand the same thing's going to happen with influencing. It's almost the same thing. It's like crack. That's the reason why you see so many influencers coming out with this bullshit, because they're all addicted to the crack. They see everybody else addicted to it. They like, shit, let me try some of that crack. They try it. They become an influencer. They get all these followers. They got no clients. At least they want to tell you. Let them tell it. Everybody's got all these clients, and everybody's doing great, and everybody's making $10,000 in 15 minutes every 3 weeks. I get it. Listen, everybody's addicted to the crack. Cocaine's a hell of a drug, right? Ain't that what Rick James said? But eventually, that's just going to shut down. Eventually, that's going to be gone. The only thing that's going to last is the stuff where somebody's giving their truth. Somebody's being actually real, actually genuine. Not genuine in the way that you're manufacturing being real. Not in the way that you're manufacturing being new. That you're manufacturing being unique. But you actually have to fucking be it. And that day is coming. I don't know when it's coming. It might be 10 years from now. Might be 10 weeks from now. Who knows? But one thing I guarantee you, like motherfuckers like me, I'm always going to be around. I was around before it. I'm around during it. I'll be around after that shit is gone. And I'll be around when the shit starts all over again. Why? Because I'm giving you something genuine, something real. And those other people that I mentioned, Gary Vee, a Grant Cardone, a Tony Robbins, whoever you want to name, they're being genuine. They're being real. That's why you got so many people trying to copy them, because they happen to become very successful and very known for it. So now everybody else wants to do the same thing. But when you start copying what somebody else did, or you start marketing yourself as the blank version of somebody that already exists, all right, what are you? Are you just a carbon copy? You just a fake version of them? Who wants that? Nobody wants the cheap imitation of the club. All right, we want the real fucking thing. So, and eventually it's not going to pay to be a cheap imitation of another person. It might be working for you right now, but again, just like the crack epidemic, eventually they're going to shut all that shit down, and only a few people going to still be left standing. So listen, all you influencers, fuck all y'all, fuck your story, fuck your clients, fuck your captions, fuck all that shit that you're doing. Now, with all that being said, I want y'all to understand, I'm going to put this disclaimer in here at the end for the idiots, because I know that in the YouTube comment section, a lot of idiots like to gather up. I'm not saying fuck the whole scope of influencing as it exists, because influencing always existed. Even before we had social media, there was in the definition, the hard definition of influencing. And listen, I've done some things that if you saw it, you would say, all right, this guy's doing something as an influencer. So I'm not saying influencing, period. What I'm saying is the avatar influencers. So everybody's looking the same, sounding the same, doing the same shit. Everybody, there will always be people who have influence over an audience of others at all times in life. Even when, there may be a day when there's no more social media, there will still be influencers, and there will still be the act of influencing. So I want y'all to understand the spirit of what I'm saying, and not try to dissect the letter of what I'm saying, because it's two different things. So I just had to throw that disclaimer in there for the dummies, because I know that, again, when people get on YouTube, they either become stupid or they were already stupid and they just happen to be here. So I want to make sure I put that out there for those people who made it to the end of the video. And oh yeah, I'm going to do a whole podcast episode on this subject that I just talked about. This right here, I'm just going off the top. I was just thinking about this morning when I was walking, and I just threw this out there. I didn't put no notes down or nothing. But when I do my podcast, I take notes, and I really lay out my thoughts and explain exactly what I mean, give examples, stories, and stuff like that. So if you're into stuff like that, the link is down in my bio where it says daily podcast, daily audio masterclass. Get it at Work on Your Game University. That's Work on Your Game U for university.com. And that's that. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.